Hi, and welcome to AI Onion Reviews. I'm Ray Baptiste. I'm the director of AI Onion Reviews, and today I'm going to be reviewing Indeed. A number of you would have come across Indeed, I'm absolutely sure, doing your job search. However, Indeed is kind of almost not quite the granddaddy, but one of the originals. I believe launched sometime in 2020, I believe October, November, sometime. But it's certainly one of the, if not one of the oldest, then certainly one of the first, if not the first, to basically be a kind of a job board aggregator, meaning it kind of pulls together lots of different job boards, so you don't have to keep running around the interweb to try and find a particular role. All right, so why AI Onion Reviews? As some of you will know from hopefully seeing some of my previous videos, I've been a recruitment agency owner, a director, and head of talent acquisition for some of the world's largest organizations. And one of the things that's frustrating more than almost anything is that it's basically seeing good candidates making poor applications. And that's why on a weekly basis, I basically go into the interweb, look at kind of job boards, tools, and ways of actually looking for work that will basically help you find your job. As we all know, finding that next career move, finding a job is almost a full job in of itself. So I think it really kind of matters what kind of tools you actually use to make that task a little bit easier. Anyway, without any further ado, let's jump straight in. So as you see here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through some of the main elements, not everything on Indeed. There's quite a lot on here, but I'm going to go through the main things that I believe matters for you. And by the way, if you do like these videos, click the like button and subscribe for future videos coming up. Great. Thank you very much. So here, everything on our homepage, relatively straightforward. You can see the search area, and further down, move that out of the way, you can see this bottom line here, which we'll go to in a moment. All right, so let's dilly across the top. So company reviews, really interesting if you're if you are looking for a particular company to work for, and you want to kind of get a bit of a sense on that organization. This is a good place to start. So if I wanted to work for Screwfix, Greggs, Currys, whoever, British Airways, I can dive into here and get a little bit more sense of what they do as an organization. And probably just as importantly, if I'm actually going for an interview, I can actually start doing a bit of research. So, basically, what do other people say who've actually been there for interviews? What are their salaries like? What current jobs have they got open? You might be going for one job. Actually, you might think, what else have they got there? And the types of kind of questions they ask, and the types of questions you can ask. And again, types of interviews. So this is quite a nice thing. This looks very similar to Glassdoor, and I think Indeed and Glassdoor have a relationship. So this is quite a nice thing to actually have, and you can go in and actually get a sense and feel of other people who have actually been through the process. Another thing I like about this site is the salary guide. Now, the salary guide is relatively useful if you're out there looking for a job and you're thinking, okay, right, what's the kind of salary for the kind of role that I'm looking for? They do everything from dentists, doctors to drivers on this site. So it really is a very, very generalist site. So you could dive into that, production operators here, support workers, whatever. But it's really useful if you're looking to maybe change careers. You're trying to move sideways or get out of something you're doing at the moment you're not really so happy about. You think, right, okay, is it worthwhile of me actually going into this new career? You can dive into that and get the average salary, so you know whether or not it's worth your while getting into that in the first place. All right, a really useful piece of data. Most companies, I think now, probably 60 to 70% do actually provide their salary details, but trying to actually go through each company and get comparisons can be really tiring. This is quite a good source for that. So a big tick in the box for Indeed from that point of view. Okay, so following across the top line, we go into like a chatbot or messaging area, I should say. And this is effectively, I would imagine, as you're messaging with a recruiter, you've got a job on the go and you're actually talking to a recruiter about what the state of play, whatever. My sense about this is a bit conflicted. Because what you don't want to be doing is having lots of different areas to go to when you're trying to do your job search. It's confusing and time consuming enough. So I would suggest possibly to continue. I would suggest coming out of this and having all of your contact and information coming into one place, maybe your Gmail, your Hotmail, or something like that. But coming into one place, you can move people from here, I should imagine, into somewhere else. It keeps it fresh, keeps it clean, and it keeps it all in one place for you. And of course, you can have your own folder in there as in wherever you're actually sit your emails sit. Again, messaging. Again, messaging. This is all about notification. So you've made an application. What status are you at this particular point? All right. So has your CV moved through the actual process? So again, useful to have, but I'll be doing a video and actually sending a cheat sheet on actually mapping your progress. Again, there are some sites that do this, but again, what you don't want is to have 3 or 4 different sites trying to map in where you are at any stage in the interview process. So what I would suggest that you bring all of that information into one place. As I say, in the next week or two, I'm going to be putting together a sheet for you. Just look down in the descriptions. You will see a free cheat sheet for basically helping you map your interview process. All right. So let's go down to the bottom down here. And as you'll see, and just coming down to the bottom, Hiring Lab, career advice, browse jobs. Hiring Lab, I'm not going to go to Hiring Lab. It's really a data repository for Indeed. It deals primarily with kind of market data, wage data on a broad macro and micro level as well. So if you're doing a presentation for an organization, for instance, that could be a good place to go. If you're in HR or something, or you're doing a I don't know, a study piece, college, university, good place to come to find out the information on a sector, on a location. So quite good information from a kind of a career and recruitment point of view, but a kind of broader perspective. The career advice, I haven't seen anything on here that is necessarily new or innovative. But again, it's, for those that are going to be talking about in a bit, who does this really, who's this suitable for? Again, suitable for anyone. There's lots of information on here. So if you're starting out, or you're a little bit rusty, and you want to get information on a specific sector, or on a process, or on, as they say here, CVs and cover letters, types of things you can do, interviewing tips, pay and salary, career development. So there's some really good, useful information here. Again, nothing that I haven't seen elsewhere. Is it innovative? Is it new? No. But I think the things that Indeed tend to do that are quite good is that they kind of give you a bit of everything. So it is a bit of a one-stop shop. It is a generalist site. So as I said, drivers, dentists, doctors, everything in between. So it's quite a good place to come to start your career search. Would I, if I was going to advise someone on this, would I suggest that they rely on this alone? Absolutely not, as I probably wouldn't for any site. But effectively, who should use this? And I think it falls into a couple of categories, the people that should use this. I think one, those that are just starting out on their career. So where do I go? How do I start? Where do I kind of glean information from? Great. Graduates, that type of thing, or second jobbers. If you're more experienced, you're probably going to know a lot of this. You've experienced a lot of this already. You might just, on the pay salary side of things, could be quite interesting. Yeah, CVs and cover letters, probably not so much, as you probably would have done that. But if you're looking for a refresher, I think that could be quite useful. All right. So let's just give you an example. Let's just give you an example of finding a job. What a job search looks like here. I'll put recruitment director. Now, again, these facets up here can all be changed. I can look at when the job came in. For instance, if the job came in, there were 50 plus jobs here. Let's say there were 1,000 plus jobs. That's going to be obviously too many to search through. So I might say jobs in the last 7 days. Okay. I can look at who the job's posted by, either the employer or staffing agency. Now I'm going to be doing a separate video on this, and the details are going to be in the description below in the next week or two, about working with directly with employers and staffing agencies or recruiters. It's important that you understand the difference between the two and how you can influence both. I've managed my own staffing agency and I've worked in-house for employers effectively for the last 20 years. So I've got a good sense, 10 years in staffing agency, 20 years in-house for the employer. So hopefully I've got a fairly good insight into how to manage both relationships. Again, you can talk about where you want to work, remote, hybrid. You can talk about distance, etc. You get the idea. Some of these were quite good when I did a search earlier on. Yeah, they were okay. All right. Again, the way that I've used these types of sites in the past is put my CV on and not necessarily used it for my kind of searching. As a headhunter and recruiter, there are other tools and tricks that I use that I will be sharing with you in later videos. However, for your generalist candidate, not a bad thing to do. Put your CV on here, optimize it for kind of the keywords for the things that you're looking for. Maybe put 2 or 3 different types of CVs on here. And I would suggest that you put the CVs on there and hope that will be picked up and searched by agencies looking for candidates like yourself. Revisit this site occasionally, have a dip into the marketplace, see who's looking. Some of the advice I've given people in the past on similar sites like this is to not necessarily apply via this site, but if you're looking at maybe an employer actually advertising, I would suggest maybe not apply via this site. As you can imagine, that job can go everywhere and anywhere. There could be thousands, hundreds of people actually applying for a particular role. I would, if I was looking at a job by an employer, I would go to that employer website, have a look at potentially who's hiring, use something like LinkedIn to actually figure out who the person might be, and I'd actually message them directly. The response you'll probably get from them is, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your interest in XYZ company. Please apply via our job site, which is absolutely fine. So you can go onto their website or on their main site and actually apply. However, hopefully you would have built a bit of relationship with that individual, and your name will be front of mind with them as well. So when your CV comes through, they say, Ray dropped me a line, let me have a look at his CV. So again, it's building that relationship with the employer, not just being one of thousands. Anyway, that's it really for Indeed. As I say, that's it for Indeed. As I say, a good, useful site. It does what it does really well. Are there any new tricks and tips on the site that you won't get elsewhere? Probably not at this particular point, but a good place to start for those starting out on their career search and hunting. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Again, please remember to hit the like button, subscribe if you've enjoyed this video, and again, subscribing will make sure that you don't miss anything else that I actually produce on a weekly basis. Anyway, all the best and happy job hunting.